Right.
Oh dear.
15 seconds.
Cool.
Hang on, where's everybody else?
Good session. Maybe they've been signing off.
They'll come in. They'll be on. Here we go.
Oh dear.
Ready to go.
Cool. Well, here we are again. Another week and another session. So welcome, Jim, and welcome, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, good. As we've just been saying, we've been out for a day today and with a load of idiots not wearing masks, and we wonder why it's spreading. But what's this that you've got behind you, Jim? What's your screen?
This is proof that the people you thought were lunatics, those flat earthers, they were right, because this is a flat earth eclipse. So that to me proves that they're right and that everybody else is wrong.
Absolutely, and the ships are going to end up sailing straight off if they carry on. Is that right?
Well, they will be the only people that will inherit the earth. The flat earthers, the anti-vaxxers, and QAnon, is it? Those are the other lunatics that believe Trump, who is an obvious nonce himself, is going to clean up the corridors of power of all the nonces, apparently.
Jesus, well, I'll tell you something, whether the earth is flat or round, it's gone mad, let me tell you that much.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of madness going on, isn't there?
Do you not think it's just as mad, Jimmy, that 40 years ago, you were releasing your first album and thinking, what's the next few years got in store for us, and we're still here 40 years later talking about it?
Well, what's really interesting about that as well is the King. The words of King are, "King, where are you people now? Chained and pacified." Basically, they're saying that you didn't make any difference. And I think that equally applies today as it did in 1980 when we released Signing Off.
Well, exactly. And that's, a good introduction, because we're going to talk tonight about Signing Off, with it being, the weekend 40 years ago that it was released. And looking at the set list here on my other screen, there's so many relevant songs, even like Tyler, for example, Burden of Shame and Strange Fruit and things like that, a heavily political album, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. We were inspired by the politics, that's what made us want to write songs, is we wanted to write protest songs, Little by Little, for instance, it's a class war song, and that we fully believed that then, and I think nothing's made us change our opinions today. Things haven't improved.
Just reinforced them, yeah.
You could say things have got worse, rather than better, So.
Well, we'll have a talk through all of them, and I don't suppose we can talk about the lyrics of all of them, because there's quite a few instrumentals on this first album. But and it's a bit of a cult album, really, isn't it? In many ways, I think more so than any other UB40 album. So we'll run through that. We might have one or two of your colleagues joining us at some point.
Well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It certainly would. It certainly would. But of course, like every week, Matt has figured out a way to stream this live for 20 minutes, half an hour on the social media channels. I think it's on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and things like that. So for all those people who want to continue listening and run through the full album with us and hear all the background information and stories and all the other rubbish that we end up talking about on these sessions.
What do you mean rubbish?
I know, yeah.
Well, I think this is what we must be.
Oh, that's it. I'm going now. That's it. I haven't come here to be insulted.
Well, where are we? We must be sort of 15 or 20 weeks in now, and 2 hours at a time. I mean, we're going to run out of things to talk about if we're not careful. Good job you were not a one-hit wonder, Jim. Good job you did have 40 years to date.
It is, yeah, it is. Yeah, at least we'll have something to chat about for the next couple of hours. How's your lawn going, by the way?
Yeah, my lawn's waterlogged, and I've been looking at underground systems to implement so I can have some green on it next year. But we'll talk about that offline, because that really is boring.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There'll be a lot of people losing the will to live if we carry on with this conversation.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Jim, I wanted to say something on a really serious note, and that is that this weekend we lost one of our friends and a long time UB40 fan, Tanya Kennedy. Evening, Rob. Rob, I'm just mentioning.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. Rob, I'm just mentioning that unfortunately we lost Tanya this weekend. Obviously, a lifelong supporter, friend, fan of the band, and other UB40 fans and friends as well. Very well, obviously very well known and respected. And sadly, she lost a battle with cancer after sort of fighting it so brilliantly for so long. And I know she meant a lot to a lot of people. So I just wanted to bring the subject up and obviously wish all the best to her husband, Andy, and all her, close friends and family. And on behalf of me, on behalf of the fans, and Rob and Jim, I'm sure on behalf of you and the band as well, wishing them all the best.
It is relevant, because this is we're talking about signing off, and of course Tan was a fan really right back from those early days. She was, I think the first concert she went to was 1980, I think.
She was a teenager.
Teenager at the Hammersmith Odeon, I think that was her first gig. And, she had that kind of impish sort of likability about her. And she became a fixture really backstage at gigs. Nobody even was surprised to see her.
She had a knack for getting
backstage. Yeah. And she was like a member of the crew. She used to wander around backstage and have complete freedom to do it. I don't know how she managed it, but she.
Yeah, and she was one of the first on the bulletin board, and gave herself the name Wildcat, of course, named herself after the track Wildcat.
Yeah, and I've got to say, Rob, that you changed your profile picture on Facebook to the picture of the whole band carrying Tanya, which I've got to say is probably the best UB40 picture anybody is ever going to see. I mean, it just epitomizes how the band treat their friends and the fans and how much fun everybody had. So I'm sure that was, dear to her heart. And, let's raise a glass to her. Let's raise a glass to, or a cup or whatever you have, or anything that's in front of you. And I'm sure everybody will join us. Yeah. So to Tanya and all the very best to her friends and family. Yeah. Cheers.
Good on you, Tan.
Okie dokie. So, right, let's get on with this signing off session. I'm just saying to Jimmy, Rob, it's been a long old 40 years for you guys. And tonight we get to talk through all of the tracks, particularly those with lyrics. And what say we play the opening track? It wasn't the first single, of course, but Tyler is a quintessential UB40 song with really powerful lyrics about a really important subject, that being Gary Tyler. Should we play it and then talk about it for a little while?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's do it. Tyler.
Don't play the whole version. It goes on forever.
Pressure, a racist jury, government lawyers, it's all for sure. Rosy white faces, false accusations, he's framed up for murder, they won't let him go. Tyler is guilty, why judge said so? What right do we have to say it's not so? Tyler is guilty, why judge said so? What right do we have to say it's not so? said so. Show him no mercy, they won't let him go. Tyler is guilty, our judges said so. What right do we have to say it's not so? Tyler is guilty, our judges said so. What right do we have to say it's not so? To the governor of Louisiana, you may get an answer. The process is slow. The federal government too much to happen. It's been nearly 5 years and they won't let him go. Tyler is guilty, our judges said so. What right do we have to say it's not so? Tyler is guilty, our judges said so. What right do we have to say it's not so? Tyler is guilty, our judges said so. Show him no mercy, they won't let him go. Tyler is guilty, our judges said so. Show him no mercy, they won't let him go.
Oh,
Yes,
Oh.
he cut it off. We
That
got
was a
four
good
four
fight.
minutes. We got 4 minutes instead of 5:51. But what a great song, and I expect that almost everybody knows the story behind that track. But do one of you guys want to give us a
Well,
bit of a backdrop?
Jimmy wrote the lyrics, so
yeah, it's one of mine. Yeah, it was. I'd read an article in a socialist newspaper,
socialist worker, wasn't he?
the Socialist Worker. Yeah, and what I did in the end was just take lines from the article and kind of shuffle them about and just created like a quick song out of it. It didn't take very long, you know. And all the lines in the song are the lines that were from the article itself.
So in truth, the journalist wrote it.
Absolutely, yeah. All I did was jiggle around the lines so that they kind of rhymed and fitted. So it was, it was just a ready-made subject for a song, and
Wow.
seemed a relevant one. You know, unfortunately, it didn't make any difference, did it? Because you spent
No, but hearing obviously you've toured that album, 5 or 10 years ago, and it was interesting to hear the lyrics changed and sung by Duncan to, it's been 35 years. And then I think because he got released, Gary got released, didn't he, 2 or 3 years ago? And it's just odd to think that all of those years, Jimmy, since you put pen to paper, the poor fella was in prison for a murder he didn't commit.
Yeah, well, like I said, we were talking earlier before Rob turned up, that it's the same with King, that they had songs that are just as relevant today as they were when we wrote them 40 years ago, because nothing has changed. In fact, you probably could even suggest that things have got worse since we were younger, so they're just as relevant now, and it just shows you how things don't change.
Yeah, absolutely. What's it like to perform? What's it like to perform that song? I think it's a fan, it's always a fan favorite, isn't it? I know, Rob, when you're putting the set list together, you always try and bring a couple in from, those early days.
Yeah, I think it's a tune I prefer live to on record. It's one of those that works better with the crowd, and that instrumental part that you just cut off, the end piece, is probably the most effective in the live situation. When we do that instrumental part for a couple of minutes and then go back into the final chorus again, it always works. It's always been one of those live numbers that the fans love.
It's also true to say that we've been playing that. I think we were playing it in the last set that we did. We certainly played it in America, and a lot of territories where it probably never got released, and Signing Off may not have got a major release anyway. But we still play them, even though half the audience isn't going to know the songs. And when we did funny, because when we did the Signing Off tour, I remember somebody telling me that they were in the toilet. And it was like halfway through the gig where we'd done the Signing Off set, and we were going to come on 15 minutes later and play some hits. And they'd gone to the toilet, and somebody was standing next to them going, they've been playing for an hour and a half, and I don't recognise one single tune. Because they had no idea that what signing off was, because they were fans of the band from Red Red Wine and from Labour of Love. So, you know, we've got this sort of split audience. Some that were there in the beginning, and others that we picked up along the way with the more commercial hits.
Yeah, you got some that love both, and you've got some that detest the other camp. You know, you've got the pop hit, the Labour of Love fans. You know, who don't like it when we get political, and you've got the hardcore fans that love the political stuff and can't stand the commercial stuff. You know, they say that's when I go to the toilet when Red Red Wine comes on. You know, that kind of thing. And you do get there like two polar opposites. You know, there's obviously a lot of people in between that just like the music. You know, but
the thing is that you can't do the same.
Two separate camps.
You can't do the same thing for 40 years.
I have to say, I've been tempted to go to the toilet occasionally when we played Red Red Wine.
Jimmy, I thought you had a couple of times when you played Red Red Wine.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be missed.
That's quite funny. Really funny, anyway.
You wouldn't be missed, Jim.
No, I know, absolutely, yeah.
But I was gonna say, I'm just thinking there when Tyler was playing on 24/7, he did was it Rainbow Nation that was a bit of a follow-up to
I wrote that one
to Tyler, and it blended in.
Well, kind of. It was really just a song saying that no matter what we thought we might achieve when we wrote that song in the beginning, nothing was really achieved by any of it, you know. And that,
because I remember, I might be wrong, but I remember something around the album maybe had a different name, and it was relating to that, and the Gary Tyler camp was saying, look, let's not draw too much attention to it. He's up for some kind of a,
they'd been appealing ever since we released the record. They'd been appealing his incarceration because it was, you know, it was outrageous. It was illegal. It should never have happened. So they'd had this campaign going on for decades. And every time we kind of tried to revive Tyler, they asked us to keep quiet about it and not to push it. You know, obviously we could still perform the song, but not raise public attention because they felt that it would, you know, adversely affect their attempt to get him out. So obviously, you know, we didn't get involved when sometimes we could have done.
I think I might be remembering this wrong, but I think in the end, he had to just put his hand up. The only way he was going to get released was to actually accept a guilty verdict. And that was the only way he was going to get out of jail, because he'd done his time, you know. It was because he wouldn't admit guilt that they'd kept him in for as long as they had, you know, which was always going to be a catch-22, wasn't it? You know, he can't win, can he?
Unbelievable.
No, he was never going to win, was he? And it didn't matter how many times they proved the case, you know, the appeal judge always denied the case, you know, just said, no, that's not happening. You know, there was one female judge, I seem to remember, that was repeatedly, the case was brought before her, the appeal was brought before her, and every time she just denied it. And for no apparent reason, you know, because the case was so obviously bent. You know, the lyrics explain about the gun that wasn't his, and then when it was presented, it didn't match the bullet. And you know, I mean, the whole thing was just so fabricated. It was ridiculous.
Well, that's probably
so
why
obvious,
it was easy.
You know?
That was probably why it was easy to get the whole story into about 12 lines. I mean, I'm sure there was a dossier on the whole case, but Jimmy's obviously depicted, you know, a few words, and it tells the story from start to finish. So if anybody's wondering what the hell are these guys talking about, just go and listen to Tyler by UB40, and it's there.
I think the problem with the judicial system as well is that judges are reluctant to overturn decisions by other judges, but also I think that their problem was that they didn't introduce any new evidence, because obviously the evidence that was already there was enough to exonerate him, but they didn't present any new evidence. And I think that's why that was the excuse for rejecting his appeal, I think.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well,
And
I mean,
how old was he when he was first? What was he? 15 or something when he was first arrested?
Something like that. He was only a young kid when he was only
Schoolboy. Terrible.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I'd encourage anybody to, you know, if you're going to go back and listen to that song again, then listen to Rainbow Nation from UB40's 24/7 album, because, you know, it just goes on to not so much explain what happened, but it's a really good follow-on, and it's worth.
I like a
listening
lad who
to.
does his research.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the lyrics now, and it actually refers back to him. What is it? He lived a life of something other than it. I'll play King, Matt, and I'll come back to those lyrics in a second.
Well, before we go on to King, just to quickly say that we're gonna be ending the live stream on the socials, so you have to get over onto the app if you want to listen to King or listen to any more of the session. So there we go.
Or hear us waffling on. Get on the app.
Bringing these lyrics up of a life he never lived. What comes before that? Something of a life he never lived.
Simple, tragic story of a life he never lived.
That's what I was looking for. Thank God I had the lyricist here. Like my Debbie McGee, Jimmy.
Debbie McGee, very much. I wonder what it was about millionaire Paul Daniels that he
So let's play the first track that UB40 released, which was, if I'm right, Robin, King, Food for Thought, rather than Food for Thought King. King was always going to be the A track, I believe, but Food for Thought kind of got picked up by the stations and became the popular one.
Except it was always a double A side.
Yeah,
because we were kind of equally split amongst the band, over which I think most people thought that Food for Thought was more commercial, but they liked King more.
Yeah,
I think that was the case with fans as well, was that they loved King. And if you look on, I was just looking on social media today, and people were talking about what their favourite track was. I'm signing off because of the anniversary, and King gets so many mentions as the favourite track on the album, which just goes to show you, you know, we loved King. We thought King was great, but we had a sneaky suspicion that Food for Thought was more commercial. You know,
yeah, sure.
Because of the horn, hook line and everything, you know. And obviously that proved to be the case because the radio stations picked up on Food for Thought and played it to death, you know. And that became the hit, even though, you're right, it was presented as King Food for Thought, but it was a double A side.
Brilliant. Well, let's listen to King, and Food for Thought is to come later.
Gilly.
Promised land, people of all nations walking hand in hand. But they're not ready to accept that dream situation yet.
Very nice.
Oh, how lovely to hear it. And good evening, Mr. Gilbert.
Yeah, good evening, Gilbert.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
We're good.
We're all good. Thank you very much. You're a little bit late.
Well, I've had car trouble. I was just putting in a new radiator.
The radiator.
Yeah, I tried the old wives' tale, putting an egg in there, but it all ended on my trainers. So
You want to try putting a radiator in your house? You won't need a jacket on then indoors.
no.
Boom.
To make a little point about that last tune, a very rare phenomenon was high harmonies done by James Brown.
That's right. That was in the days when I could do it.
And you're going to give us a little rendition, Jim?
The thing was, he did the high harmonies, but he didn't drum at the same time. In the studio, he recorded the high harmonies. And then when we got to playing it live, he couldn't drum and sing at the same time because he was going, King.
Is he not like patting your head and rubbing your belly at the same time?
Yeah, a bit like that. So yeah, we had to get someone else to do the high harmonies.
Yeah, Norman, and he hasn't even got a high voice.
No.
Who was that? One of your lyrics again, Jimmy?
No, I think that was a committee one, wasn't it? It was one that we kind of did lines each, sort of thing.
Written in my parents' kitchen on the big table.
Is that right? I don't even remember that.
I don't suppose there many committee songs or.
There were on the first album.
Yeah.
On the first album, we wrote a few, sat round the table at my parents' house. Burden of Shame was another one, wasn't it? Yeah. And it was me, Jimmy, Brian, and Ali, I believe, sat round the table, just firing at each other. That was the only time that we wrote like that ever. I think was on the first album.
Is that just down to finding your way and just sort of figuring out how this is done, and then once you've done the first album, we
knew we had to write our own lyrics. It was that simple, and so we did it together around a table for the first album. Although Jimmy brought Tyler to us on his own, and there were various others written on their own, but some of the songs were written sort of by committee. But after that, it became a thing where each writer brought a song or three to the album, and then it became it might get worked on by another member and I don't know, a chorus added or something like that, but generally lyrics were brought by one member after that.
Okay. And also we were also really keen on dub as well. So in a way, lyrics were kind of a second thought, because some of us would have been quite happy to have made the whole album instrumental at the time, including Ali. And I probably would have felt like that myself in them days,
Well, if you remember when we first formed the band, despite what Ali says to the contrary, he never wanted to be the singer. He wanted to be the drummer. He wanted to be a dub instrumental band. and he didn't want to sing at all. He wanted to be the drummer, and you know, it was us that said to him, "Don't be ridiculous. You're the singer. Jimmy's the drummer."
Because Jimmy can't sing. Have a listen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yoris is asking on the app. He's saying, weren't some of the lines written by Ian? Obviously, Ian Campbell.
No.
Because it says that he believes that he was credited on a later re-release.
No, he was credited for a later song, but not anything off Signing Off.
Oh, right.
What does Yoris know anyway?
I know. That's the first time we've ever been wrong, Yoris.
Now we know.
I bet his wife doesn't agree.
Yeah. Brilliant. Gil, do you remember these songs coming out back in 1980?
Yeah, but they weren't my mates then.
Hey, they're not your mates now.
Yeah, he had no time for us at all.
I had more important things to get on with, life.
But it must have been like, obviously being around Birmingham at that time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it must have been like a bit of a phenomenon for these guys to be pumping out these kind of tunes back then.
Oh God, yeah, man, they were dope. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
Pulse did it first. They were the first Brummie band that achieved recognition a couple of years before us.
Yeah, but you lot had game.
Yeah,
Pulse was Pulse, but you had game.
yeah, man.
There's a difference.
And it wasn't long after that, Gilbert. We were clubbing it. Must have been 80, 81, going out with Barney and going down. It wasn't that long after.
You mean coming home cockeyed and dribbling, Jimmy?
Definitely, yeah. Coming home with Bobby Brown. Yeah.
You see, not a lot's changed in 40 years, has it?
Oh no.
Liberty's on a Wednesday. Bobby Brown's on a Friday.
Liberties, that was it. Someone was asking me what was the name of the nightclub on Hagley Road, and I couldn't remember it. Liberties, that was
Liberties.
it.
Yeah. Every Wednesday night was a big night at Liberties. I remember back in them days. I'm all right, Gilbert.
That was right. I got through out a lot. Remember, Jim?
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah.
So going back to going back down memory lane again, back to sort of 79, 80, and you guys obviously had to choose your first album artwork as such, which of course back in those days were big record sleeves, and the form is obvious what it is, and it's the first question in any UB40 quiz, of course. But whose idea was it to have the form?
Oh God, I don't know. I think it would just seem one of those really obvious ideas. I can't remember the source of it, to be honest.
And to use the signing on card that we all had, and to stamp it signing off, meaning we found employment.
Yeah,
that
stroke of genius again. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. I would imagine that Brian would lay claim to it, because he was very much the graphics man at the time. He was the guy who he did the remember the Frankenstein poster and stuff,
Yeah.
He was very much into the UB40 logo and trying different styles and stuff. I think much more than any of us were. He was very much into the visuals, So he may well lay claim to having thought of it, but I honestly can't remember who thought of it first, and I can't remember whose idea it was to stamp it saying signing off,
But somebody did, and it worked.
But I'll lay claim to it if you want.
It's brilliant. We all thought the album cover after that was going to be a picture of a gyro.
Gyro, yeah, remember them? Gyro. I used to pick up my gyro, £13.50. That's where you can get paid.
Yeah.
And around that time, you were, because there's more to being in a band, I suppose, than writing songs and playing music. There's set lists to put together. And but there's obviously knowing you guys for quite some time. I see, I'm fortunate enough to see that other people do different things like set list creation and things like that, and keeping people in line and all that kind of stuff. So, with all of that, how did you decide who was going to do what in the band, both who was going to play what instrument, who was going to write lyrics, who was going to sing, who was going to do the artwork, because Brian took that.
Well, we didn't decide those things really. It was an organic thing, you know. Brian had a saxophone. He already had a saxophone, and he'd had a few lessons. He wanted to be a sax player. So when we formed the band, it was obvious that Brian was going to play the sax, you know. Jimmy wanted to be a drummer.
Mm-hmm. I don't really play drums to a degree. I knew the basics of what
the basics, yeah. So when we got a drum kit, then Jimmy was the obvious choice for drummer, even though, as I said earlier, Ali wanted to be the drummer and was most put out when Jimmy was the drummer and he had to be a singer. And
he's never been comfortable with that role, has it? To be honest.
No. And both me and Ali were going to be guitarists. Earl bought a bass guitar, so he wanted to be the bass player. And Norman was always going to be a percussionist. Mm-hmm. He wanted to play the congas. He wanted to play, you know, bongos. He wanted to shake a rattle and all that. You know, I mean, it was literally horses for courses. And we had our original keyboard player was a guy called Jimmy Lynn who played keyboards. So he was, after a fashion, I don't think he was a keyboard player, but you know, that was what he wanted to do. So he became the keyboardist. But you know, when he left, we then looked for someone else to become a keyboard player. But I mean, even when Mickey joined, he wasn't a keyboard player. No. He was a friend who wanted to be in the band, and the only spot open was as a keyboard player, so he became the keyboard player.
He was the brother of mine and Ali's girlfriends, who were sisters.
And he went to school with Astro, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to school at Golden Hillock with Astro. Yeah. And so we didn't know either of them at the time, Astro or Mickey. You know, Mickey was lucky that he was connected to, you know, our girlfriends, you know what I mean? That's how we got the job in the end.
Exactly. It's ridiculous, you know, but that's exactly how everybody got the job. And it was just an organic thing. We didn't sit down and go, right, who's going to be a lyricist?
No, it's just organic.
We just went, we need to write a song. So we did, you know, we sat around and it just became obvious who the lyricists were, because, you know, some people are just better at some things than others, you know.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because, you know, some people are more articulate than others. Some people, I mean, Brian is an absolute prolific lyricist. He just writes non-stop, you know.
Of course. But likewise with vocals,
me and Jimmy take forever to write songs, but, you know, we still come up with them all the time, you know.
Yeah, but vocals as well, because obviously all that took an organic approach, but you didn't really hear yourself, Robin, is on lead vocals, Norman, Earl, until a little bit later, you know, a few years after. Was that building up confidence, or was it just that, again, just how it happened?
No, it's just the way it happened, really. I never wanted to be a lead vocalist. Ali was always going to be the lead vocalist. He was always the lead singer. When we were kids and we sang together anyway, me and Duncan would harmonise to Ali. You know, Ali would take the lead, even though he was the baby. He would take the lead every time. He fancied himself as Michael Jackson or Stevie Wonder, you know, and that was the part that he took. So obviously, when the band was formed, my idea was that the three of us would be vocalists in the band. Duncan had different ideas and decided he didn't want to be in the band because it was never going to happen, you know. And he went off to do his own thing, which was, at the time, he was a croupier, and he went off to Barbados, you know.
Well, a gamble that ultimately paid off.
Yeah, but it was, for me, that was really disappointing, because as far as I was concerned, you know, the three of us harmonising together, we had an automatic vocal sound, you know, much like, you know, the Everly Brothers or the Bee Gees, or, you know, there would be a vocal sound that we could really build on, and would give us a great advantage in making records, you know. So it was very disappointing to me that Duncan went, nah. And, you know, and it was left that it was me and Ali basically as the vocalists. But it was added to by, and as time went on, different things happened. Norman came up with ideas for songs, so we went, why don't you sing it? You know, because we knew he had a good voice, but he wasn't a singer per se, but he had a great voice, you know. So
and Earl as well, and
we
Earl
tried
as
to
well.
encourage him into singing. Earl took a long time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he did reggae music, I think, was the first.
Isn't it
one.
Baby?
No,
Babe.
I think
No, Baby came before. Baby was on Labour Love 2, so that came first. No, first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure it was Baby was his first.
Baby's on Labour Love 2, and then Reggae Music's on Promises and Lies, so it's about 5 years prior.
Yeah, when you were in Italy.
Yeah, but I think he in the castle. Yeah, but I think he wrote reggae music before we recorded Labour of Love 2.
Oh, right.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, good get out of jail free card, that, Rob. Jesus. But what an amazing thing, though, like, you know, for you guys to all be friends and have connections, and then to have, you know, some of the best instrumentalists, lyricists, and then vocalists, you jammy sods that you could all just come together and do that. I mean, just amazing. And then, obviously, you've made your own look from there.
Part of that is also the fact that four of us went to art school together, so we were creative. And what that meant was that at the age of 11, which was a really young age, we all took a separate art exam to qualify to go to this special art school that took pupils from that young age, you know. So we were the best artists in our respective junior schools.
Yeah.
And we all got together in the specialist school after the age of 11. So we were all creative, and I think when you are creative, you can put your hand to a lot of different things, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's been proven. And of course, I think for me personally, having not only Ali, but Robin, and of course, Earl and Norman, who have taken the lead vocals over the years, positioned the band really well when Ali eventually, you know, left for a solo career. And it meant that people couldn't turn around and say that, oh, Ali is UB40 with any credibility, because, you know, you'd listen back to an Earl track, or you'd listen back to Mr. Fix-It or to Johnny Two Bad and go, well, hang on, that's UB40. You've got no argument. And then obviously Duncan coming in.
I think also we have to separate live from record as well. I think live was when really people like Norman and Earl and Astro came into their own, you know, that they were a real necessary addition to the live gig, because they could rouse an audience. Norman can just tears the place up when he comes on stage, you know. That's
big time.
His personality comes through, you know. So I think that we saw that we needed that live, and then that transferred to record probably later, you know, and we're giving them more and more songs to sing as time went on.
Absolutely. Good. Well, look, we're going to have to get on with playing some music. So we're 45 minutes in. We're only 2 songs down. But 12 Bar is a instrumental track. So let's listen to that and enjoy it. Recharge your glasses, and then we'll talk about Burden of Shame.
Okay.
That, I don't know about you guys, but that just transports me back to the Hare and Hounds. You know, the first signing off. In 10 years ago, do you know what I mean? Like when you decided to take it on tour.
The 30th anniversary.
Yeah, God, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Jesus. Wow. But yeah, I mean, going out for the fans, you know, for the hardcore fans especially, or those that, when we talked about the divided fans, those that really like the early stuff, taking that on tour, you know, sort of in, I think it was November, December time in places like Rain in Manchester, and listening to those deep-rooted reggae songs was with you know, auditoriums filled with weed. Just brilliant memories. Brilliant memories.
You know, when we did that tour, I could see in the audience there were people just standing there with their eyes closed, you know, listening to the, transported by the music, you know.
Absolutely.
They must have loved that album when it first came out and spent loads of time in their bedrooms or whatever listening to it.
Or thereafter, Jim, because obviously, you know, people like myself were not, well, wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's eye in 1980. So, you know, people like me have found it retrospectively and listened back, and to go and hear that, because it's unusual, isn't it, for a band to go and take an album like that and do a full set of the whole thing. And I thought it worked absolutely brilliantly, and people really did enjoy it.
Yeah, we made a couple of just arbitrary sort of changes, and it worked as a set. Funnily enough, I think we kept Tyler in at the start, but I think we moved a couple of I think we moved little by little later, and there were only a few changes, but it worked as a complete set, because it peaked with Reefer Madness and Madam Medusa first, and then Reefer Madness. So it was a really building set, even though it was an album, you know. So
it just worked. And for Duncan as well. I mean, he's you know, 10 years ago, and Duncan's voice coming into the band and stuff, you know, was relatively new at that stage. And I thought the early stuff really, really worked for Duncan and his vocal presence at the time.
Andy at the time was singing quite clear. You know, he hadn't adopted his faux Jamaican accent, and you know, he hadn't built up a few of the bad habits that he'd got later. So he sang in a more soulful way in those days, rather than a cod reggae style that he adopted later. And that suited Duncan's voice more, I think.
Absolutely. Well, there's only so much.
Ali, sorry, I was going to say that I used to say that at that point Duncan sounded more like a young Ali than an old Ali did.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because he hadn't cracked his vocal cords, which obviously Ali had damaged his vocal cords over time. Even though he still had a great voice and he could still sing, it was different. The quality was different, you know, and the quality of Duncan's vocals was very similar to Ali's early vocals. Because
it always amazed me that Dunk's got, considering all the grog and the fags, that Dunk had this beautiful voice that he did have, you know, because he's getting on like we all are, and but his voice was really clear. and really cut through nicely. And I was
but he hadn't done thousands and thousands of shows. That was the difference.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, it just worked in 2010 or whenever it was. The timing, it just worked really, really well. And just, at that time, obviously, people were starting to walk around with cameras, and there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, which I'd encourage people to go back and watch from around.
I wouldn't encourage them to go back and watch.
No, but the thing is, obviously, listening to.
I like the Hare and Hounds one. I think that's really nice.
That's actually mixed, doesn't it? The Hare
and it sounds. It doesn't sound just like the original album, because obviously in 1980 there were only so many bootlegs available, not necessarily in high quality. So to then hear it in sort of a digital form in 2010, and in my opinion, a more controlled, just a more controlled version of each song.
Well, it was funny because we didn't have a clue what we were doing really in the beginning. We were breaking all the rules because we didn't know the rules.
If we weren't better musicians after 30 years, then there's something wrong, isn't there?
Exactly. But the thing is that we had no fear in those days, and we were doing things that, as you develop a technique later, you probably wouldn't want to attempt, and didn't make a lot of sense. So it was actually quite hard to relearn to play those tunes the way we used to play them. But then we had to apply develop technique as well, because otherwise it'd be daft
because I think out of the whole, I'm looking here at the track list of Signing Off, and Tyler, King and Food for Thought were probably the only tracks that you carried through your career to play them live at different stages. But the other 10 tracks were right back to the beginning for you. I can't remember since the early 80s, maybe mid 80s. So for 25 years at that point, you played Little by Little or 25%, or I Think It's Going to Rain Today or whatever.
Yeah.
I think
we played 25%.
We brought back I Think It's Going to Rain Today occasionally. And but yeah, we played we kept the ones in the set that were the obvious ones, like King, Food, and Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get a shifty on, because we're nearly an hour in now, which is all good. But Bird and a Shame, interesting song for a few reasons. Anybody want to elaborate?
Well, that was another one that was written by around the kitchen table at our house, written by committee, and it was basically, fairly obviously a song about apartheid in South Africa, and it was, we wrote it between us, basically adding a line at a time, and I remember my dad listening to us talking about the lyrics and that's a good line, put that, and he was going, oh, you don't want to say that, you don't what you're going to say, you're a British subject, not proud of it. We were going, that's right, Dad, yeah.
Get your own kitchen table.
He was going, well, that's a bit rash, isn't it? No, that's exactly what we're trying to say, and interestingly enough, that was the song that finished our contract with Graduate Records, because it was Graduate allowed Signing Off to be released in South Africa on, I think, Gallo Records, minus that song, because Gallo Records were embarrassed by it, by the lyrical content, and said that it wasn't a good song to be releasing in South Africa. Obviously, if we'd have known about that, we'd have said the one place we want to release it is South Africa. The one place we want it to be heard, it would be South Africa, and we wouldn't have agreed to the release of the album at all. And when we found out, that was enough for us to go our separate ways from Graduate Records.
I think there's also a general message, anti-colonial message in the song. The chorus, "I'm a British subject, not proud of it," can equally apply to the statue of the guy that they've just thrown in the river in Bristol.
Absolutely. Yeah, I only say it was specifically about South Africa because it says a boy in Soweto dies.
Yeah.
But of course it could apply to many places, as could Sing Our Own Song, which was written exactly the same for, it's an anti-apartheid song written for the black people of South Africa, but it could apply to any downtrodden nation, It could apply to Red Indians, and in fact was later adapted as a song about Red Indians by Buffy St. Marie,
who sang Soldier Blue, if you remember that.
That's right, yeah.
And do you think that was, looking back at it retrospectively, do you think that was obviously it was the right decision ethically to leave Graduate Records, but do you think it was sort of a catalyst for you guys to push on in a different direction, and was it the right thing financially for the band at the time?
Well, I don't know, but we had a great deal with Graduates, we split everything 50-50, but we couldn't continue with them when they'd done that, because we just lost all trust, because we believed in them as they believed in us, and we just were utterly shocked by the fact that they'd allowed that album to be released in South Africa and have that track removed. We were so angry about it that we just could not continue with them after that. The trust was gone. So whether it was a good decision financially or not, who knows? But it eventually, just a few years later, led to us signing with Richard Branson and Virgin, which was the best move we ever made.
Yeah. So arguably, then it was a good decision, both commercially.
Yeah. I mean, who we went to wasn't great. I think it was CBS we went to for the next album. But yeah, I mean, the best decision was when we decided to form our own record label. But that wasn't until a year later. But yeah, it was. There was a series of different moves that led eventually to Virgin's doors.
Absolutely. Well, let's listen to Burden of Shame.
Not all of it.
Yeah, all 6 minutes 29 of it, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Earl, will you keep still? You're making me feel sick.
You makes us feel sick anyway.
Just unmute yourself, Earl.
Are you muted, Earl?
Oh,
Can't hear you.
You're muted.
Is that better?
there he is.
Ah.
Got you.
Greetings.
Looks like you're spinning on your skateboard.
Yeah, well, you know me. Always on the move.
How you doing, man? All right.
Yeah, wicked, yeah.
Good man.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
we're
Got me wine and got me doggy. Hello.
stuff.
Hello, everybody.
Go.
Well, we're a few songs deep into signing off, and I was just explaining to my brother who's my internet's packed in at my house. So I'm up at my brother's, and he's sat with me, and I'm just explaining a little bit more about Burden of Shame and the boycott. Was this around the time that you were boycotting South Africa, and you got offered the big bucks to go?
Well, we boycotted South Africa from the beginning. We observed the cultural boycott that was already in existence. We just observed it. We refused to go there whenever we were invited. But yeah, we were also offered Sun City, which isn't actually in South Africa. It's oh God, I can't remember where it is.
Swaziland or something. Swaziland or something.
Is it Botswana?
Botswana. Yeah.
I can't remember, but
One of them, innit?
Sun City is the sort of, the Blackpool of, where people who don't go into South Africa go and play there, and the South Africans travel out to Sun City to watch it. And a lot of people went there.
There's a horrific list of artists that went there.
Sorry?
There's an horrific list of artists.
Oh, yeah, incredible.
Elton John, one of them.
Yeah,
too, I believe.
Cliff Richard
And black artists too.
Ross played it.
Shirley Bassey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Diana
really?
Ross as well. She played Sun City.
Diana Ross.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. But
I mean, we wrote Burden of Shame was like one of the first tunes we wrote in it long before we actually started gigging.
Yeah.
In actual facts, isn't it? So
yeah, that was one of our very earliest lyrics, for sure.
But
What was the first lyric?
God.
Dream a Lie.
I think Dream a Lie was the first. Well, it was certainly my first lyric, and I think it may have been the first song that we wrote. Yeah, because
Burden of Shame is right there with one of the first 2 or 3 that we wrote.
Yeah.
And King. Burden of Shame and King were the early songs.
Real? All right, good. Well,
also, there's. I think people in England people around the world are in denial about the extent of racism in society. Youth culture was vehemently anti-racist in those days, and that was it was fashionable to be anti-racist. It's the opposite now. It seems to be fashionable to be a racist artist. And this picture behind me is a reminder. That's a Belgian zoo. A Belgian black zoo from the 1950s. So we're not talking very long ago here. So these things still. It hasn't changed. If you want to know how racist this country is, then find your local area, their page on Facebook, and have the audacity to suggest that Black Lives Matter, and see what reaction you get. You'll be cut down wherever you are in England. You'll be cut down by racists
and banned from Facebook. Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what, Matt. Just due to time, you and I were considering skipping some of the instrumental tracks, but given that the next song is Adela and Earl has just turned up, we better not.
Yeah, you can play a little bit of that. I'll just been on the family thing as it goes. Yeah.
Come on then, Earl. Give us an introduction to this song.
Well, it's an instrumental, and it's named after my daughter, who was one of the first kids that was born in the band, basically. And then obviously and there was obviously a long line in waves in between the tours of like loads of kids after that. Yeah.
Same age.
Yeah, all the same ages. Yeah, so like different waves with generations of kids. So like my daughter's got 4 kids of her own now. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well,
she's like 40.
Well, she's the same age as the album.
Yeah. there you go.
Well,
Yeah,
let's hear it. Let's hear it. It's a lovely instrumental.
Yeah, great
Lovely.
tune. Great tune.
Lovely.
Very sweet, yeah. And I think, at the time, that was what made the album fresh to a lot of people. We were coming out of the punk era where, the attitude was everybody was so crap. It didn't matter because the music they were playing was just unlistenable anyway. But this was a very sweet record, and it was really approachable and, it had a wide appeal. It was in the charts for 96 weeks when it was released, and I think it was really fresh and different to what was going on, even though we still retain that kind of anti-establishment sort of punky attitude that a lot of us were.
Well, really diverse, Jimmy, to consider that you've heard like Tyler and King and then Burden of Shame, and then all of a sudden you're into this sort of lovely track called Adele. Puts you in a
it's kind of
ponies, there's more to us than just politics.
Yeah.
The music comes first.
It's very melodic, and obviously we can play it a lot better than what is on a record now.
Yeah.
Listening to that, it sounds a bit dropped down, telling the truth. But it is quite a complex piece of music as it goes, and obviously we didn't really know what we was doing. But
I think that one is probably the most grown up musically of all the instrumentals on the album.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great composition and all the different parts and everything.
We were playing for a year, maybe less, when we recorded that album.
Yeah, that's it.
When we recorded the album, it was our entire repertoire, wasn't it, at the time?
So we were firing on all cylinders, but we were blind. Really, we didn't really know what we were doing.
How many? By the time you kind of got in the studio to record, well, I'm not suppose it wasn't really a studio, was it? It was sort of a bedroom and all that kind of stuff. But how many gigs had you done at that point? Were you sort of 10 or 12?
30 at the most. We did in the year of 79, which was when we started recording the album. We probably did 30 shows in total in 79, and the beginning of 80 when we toured with Chrissie Hynde. Yeah. And we did the British tour with the Pretenders. We did more gigs in 6 weeks with her than we'd done in the previous year.
Wow. And then sort of straight into recording it and then released fairly quickly.
And if I remember...
Well, we had it recorded. We had the album recorded before we went on tour with the Pretenders.
Because
we released the single while we were on tour, and it went into the... It went to in the charts.
Did you release a few songs before you got to releasing Signing Off? Because you had another double A side. I think It's Going to Rain Today, and My Way of Thinking.
Yeah.
That was after, wasn't it?
That was afterwards.
Was that after the release of the album?
Yeah, that was after Food for Thought.
It was after Food for Thought, but not after the release of the album. It was before the album was released. Because we wanted a follow-up single, and we didn't want to release a follow-up single. And Ali wrote My Way of Thinking, didn't he? And
which is not on Signing Off.
No, because we were working on the album. The only reason the album was not out by then was because we were going to London to record the 12-inch that was added to the album.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Madame Medusa on that.
Yeah, to include Astro. Because Astro had only recently joined us, and he was new, so he wasn't on the existing repertoire.
Right.
So we did Madame Medusa precisely to include Astro in the album. And that was why that's why the album was delayed in its release, was because we went to London to record that 12-inch.
12-inch, yeah.
Which was basically we wrote it in the studio, basically, didn't we? Or a large part of it, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's a live jam. The dub is a live jam that we just played in the studio.
Well,
I can't remember what the other track was. We recorded it. Did we record another track in there as well?
Reefer Madness.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I think there was something else. There was just 3 tracks on it.
Strange Fruit. Was it Strange Fruit?
Yes. Yeah. So those 3 tracks we recorded separately for the 12-inch at Delane Lee in Wembley.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. Very, very productive session.
I do remember actually when Rob drowned us all in the top floor of the hotel when he got the fire hose out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Playing silly games. I remember we were like, the carpet on the whole floor was soaked. When you went to turn your light on, you got an electric shock.
Yeah, it started off with cups of water, then buckets of water, and then hoses. Do you know what I mean?
Is that where you got the inspiration for? I think It's Going to Rain Today.
Rain Today, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
No, that was where they got the inspiration for pelting me with cans.
Yeah,
tin can at your feet.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's. So this is the next one. Is I think It's Going to Rain Today, and it's not a song about British summer, I don't believe, but it's a Randy Newman track. And how come you decided to put a cover on? Because clearly you had Dream a Lie, you had My Way of Thinking, you had other tracks already. Why go to a cover?
It was a song actually that my dad recorded years earlier. So me and Ali knew it as kids, and we loved the song. We
just liked it, didn't you?
And that was just, we just did it because we knew the song, and we liked our version of it. Simple as that, really.
And you gotta love Randy Newman. It's a brilliant song.
It's a great song. It's man's inhumanity to man.
Well, should we have a listen?
Another happy lyric.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as always.
A little
ditty, automatically.
Let's do it. Go for it.
Whoa.
Broken windows and empty
You enjoying that, Earl?
What, the wine?
The song and the wine.
Oh yeah, the song. Yeah, and the wine, obviously. Yeah. Just chilling.
What is it you're drinking? What's your vino of choice?
Very nice it is too, mate.
Usual Spanish number. Lovely.
Oh yeah. You know me. Yeah, it's Sunday, innit? Only drink on a Sunday.
You lie.
All right, Pinocchio.
It's one of those words that come out of your mouth then.
I know, nearly choked then. Spitting feathers.
All right, cool. Listen, guys, we've got 25% food for thought, little by little, signing off. Madame Medusa, Strange Fruit, Reefer Madness. Are we going to try and get through all of them? Are we going to try and play?
Well, you can play snippets. It's up to you, mate. You're running it. You're on things, innit?
You don't have to play the whole thing. You can
Yeah,
play
let's
snippets.
let's do some snippets.
Yeah.
25%.
Yeah.
25%.
Nothing like a snippet.
Let's play 25% of 25%.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a quarter, innit?
Yeah.
No. 16. It's a 16.
Is it? I was crap
All
at
right,
maths.
all right, Carol. Tell you what, I'll have some of what Earl's drinking.
That was extremely short, that was.
Yeah, lovely to hear it though. And again, going back to when we were, talking about 10 years ago when you took that show on the road. I mean, lovely songs to sit and dance along to. And
it's very moody, isn't it? It's very moody.
Very moody.
Mellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was our tribute to Studio One. I think that because it's quite.
That's true. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
I think we did a pretty good job of reproducing that kind of heavy sound,
And I tell you what, Jimmy, as a fan, listening to it in the smaller venues, places like Paradiso and stuff like that, and the Hare and Hounds, rather than the big silly arenas. Do you know what I mean? So much more intimate, and you just feel it in your bones, so to speak.
Yeah, and like Earl says, we play them better now. Because we're more accomplished, simply. We actually play them better, they're more complete.
Well, something to consider on the next tour, Mr. Campbell.
I don't think so.
Well, don't tell him what to do.
Perfect smoking
He'll have
music
ya.
as well, isn't it?
Have me guts for garters, yeah, he always does. Well, next one will give us something to think about. Food for thought.
Yeah.
Come on then. So a lot of people, everybody knows this song. Everybody sings along to it, and very few people, I would imagine, know what it's
Actually know
about.
the lyrics.
Absolutely.
Well, they know what it's. They think it's about Madonna.
Or I'm a prima donna is another one.
Exactly.
What's the other one? I'm Marie and Donna was another one that I was told. That's.
But again, full of starving kids. The world is today, and it's not.
Just to
not
cheer
a
you
lot
up.
changed.
It still is as well. It's still going on,
Yeah,
mate.
absolutely. It was all about the hypocrisy of Christmas. We all sit round a table stuffing ourselves, and on the other side of the world, there's people dying for lack of something to eat. You know, it's just.
And that's why we do
what
these
a
sessions
mad world we live in. You know.
Well, that's why we do these sessions on a Sunday night, because if we did it on a Monday morning, everybody would be off to such a crap start that it just wouldn't be worth bothering with, would it? So,
but you know, it's the same old, because there's people that love that tune, you know, that will still come on Facebook and tell us to stay out of politics, you know, when we support someone like Corbyn, you know, or any socialist ideal, they'll say, you know, well, you should stay out of politics and stick to your music. Yet at the same time, they love a song like Food for Thought, you know, because they have never listened to the lyrics and aren't vaguely aware of what it's about.
Yeah, but that's the nature of the way people take in songs, you know. I mean, for a start, people think that Imagine by John Lennon is some kind of religious hymn.
Yeah.
It's exactly the opposite, you know. It's an
exactly.
diatribe, isn't it? You know, but that's how people see songs, isn't it? That you can't stop that.
Yeah. And I don't care anyway, you know, because in the end, the medium we work in is pop music. And you know, really, it's about turning people on musically. It's not about the lyrics. The lyrics are important when you write them. They might be important to us, you know, but in the end, who cares
the melody,
if they don't get the lyric? What you care is whether they like the music or not. If they like the record, they don't have to get the lyrics, you know.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
It's a perfect example of that, where people think it's a love song.
Which
Love is all.
Oh yeah.
It's a love song, and it's exactly the opposite.
Hang on, we had that as our first dance at our wedding. Have I got it wrong?
Well, that's it, because it's got love in the title, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was an answer.
On my couch when you get divorced.
It was absolutely a response to "Love Is All You Need," the Beatles song. You know, that was exactly what it was an answer to. And "Love Is All You Need" is about a love song, you know. But "Love Is All right" is not, when you've got to, you know, have a little more hate.
That's a little more hate, yeah.
But that's why, but that's why UB40 appealed to so many people, I guess, because it doesn't really matter to you guys whether or not somebody buys the record and listens to it, dances to it, puts their headphones on, is cleaning the house, is listening to the lyrics or whatever. It doesn't really matter, does it? You've sold the record, it's out there, people are consuming it in their own way, which is their right to do.
Well, we're not naive enough to think that our lyrics are going to make any difference. You know. No,
we don't think we're ever gonna, you know, you're not gonna cause a revolution with a song. You know, you only ever reflect the way your contemporaries are feeling about something anyway, you know. I'd personally love it if someone digs the lyrics, you know, if someone understands the song. And, you know, obviously there are a lot of fans that do love the lyrics and love the meaning behind them and all of that, you know, and know every single word. And I love that. I love it when they appreciate the lyrics, but I don't care if they don't. That's the point.
And there's nothing worse than pop stars who think they can teach people in stuff. Do you know what I mean? I hate that. You know, I don't need Phil Collins to tell me to think twice. You know, I really don't.
You bought all his albums, Jim. Come on, big people. You
Don't
know
tell everybody.
And he's a drummer.
I love it.
Well, do you know, it's funny you should mention Phil Collins. I'm thinking about his big, you know, drum intro that he does, and for me, you know, it's a great intro, isn't it? And like food for thought at a gig, coming at it from a fan's angle, you know, that as an opening track or the one that you come back on after the encore, whatever it may be, is a fucking brilliant. It's a brilliant, powerful song that gets everybody bounced. Actually, people don't sway to Food for Thought. They bounce to Food for Thought, and it's a brilliant live track.
It's become anthemic, you know, it's like an anthem when we do it live. And also that big beginning, that big build up in the beginning of that, which obviously isn't on the record, but works brilliantly live.
But obviously you guys put it in.
The horn line is still played every time there's a goal scored at the Blues Ground, which obviously is not that often, but you know.
Hey, you're gonna get shot.
Hear what he's saying, Earl, about our team.
I thought it was the Villa.
Oh, hey! No matter with it. No matter with it.
Because Brian's a Villa fan, isn't it?
It's the Blues Ground, mate. It's the blues
Yeah,
band
well,
that
I
play.
haven't been there since me and Brian like used to sneak over the back fence, like when we was like 14 or something. You know what I mean? That's the last time I was. But I'll be a blue nose till the day I die.
Yeah, because we were born
You know
in
what I
small leagues. You can't
Exactly.
be born in small leagues.
All right, Tommy.
You're
Yeah,
built
Peaky
back.
Blinders, man. All right, Tommy.
You live
Is that Arthur?
born in
Is
the
that Arthur
shadow
Shelby?
of Andrews, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
right,
listen.
Tommy, let's go.
Apparently, Gilly's had a word down at the Villa, and every time they score a goal next season, they're going to sing "Moonlight Lover."
Oh well, if it encourages him to go and buy the record, fair play, mate. I'll take Villas dough. I'll take their dough. You know what I mean? Innit, lads?
I think they should be.
Right.
I think they should be playing the theme tune to The Great Escape, considering what happened to them this year.
In it.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man, for real.
Boom, boom. Play a record quick.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Ivory Madonna, dying in the dust, waiting for the manna coming from the west. Iron is her bosom, empty as her eyes. There's a certain harvest scattered from the skies. Skin bones is creeping, doesn't know he's dead. Ancient eyes are peeping from his infant head. Politicians argue, sharpening their knives, drawing up their bargains, trading baby lives. Ivory Madonna, dying in the dust, waiting for the manna coming from the west. The bells are ringing, Christmas on its way. Hear the angels singing, what is that they say? Eat and drink rejoicing, joy is here to stay. Jesus, son of Mary, born again today. Ivory Madonna, dying in the dust, waiting for the manna coming from the west. Ivory Madonna, dying in the dust, waiting for the manna coming from the west.
It really does sound very poppy, doesn't it? That track.
Fucking
I can see
bastard.
why they chose
Lovely,
it.
lovely Christmas song, that is. Lovely Christmas song, Rob.
Oh, it's great. Hear the bells ringing.
Christmas on its way. Soon will be.
Yeah,
innit?
Yeah.
It's getting cold, man.
The piano
I like
still
it.
sounds like it's being played by an arthritic vulture. The tempo changes throughout the track. Just thank God for the rhythm guitarist, but the piano is just painful.
That's usually when you make a record. In the end, all you hear is your mistakes, don't you? You know,
Yeah.
when you've made one, you think, "Oh, I wish I'd have done that different," or "I wish I'd have done that better."
Well, in the interest of moving things along, because of time, little by little, who wants to give this one an intro?
Little by little.
One of yours, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah. This is another one of mine. Another one about bringing down socialism.
Babylon.
Capitalism, bringing down, little by little and stone by stone, rich man's mountain comes tumbling down. Never happened.
Which is why, in the end, I wrote Gravy Train, which is the same
absolutely.
subject.
Yeah, it's the same. We're still going on about the same half dozen subjects because nothing changes. That's proof. The proof is in the pudding, isn't it? The proof is in the fact that after 40 years, we're still writing about the same things.
Same subjects, yeah.
Just shows you what a crap world it is.
I'm going to go top myself now.
Yeah, mass suicides, Waco.
Yeah,
Waco style, man. Yeah.
Depressed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a crying pill.
Hey, the only saving grace is you managed to find a way to wrap it up in uplifting music. So let's have a listen.
We always said that as well. The iron hand in the velvet glove is the that's
perhaps that should be the title for your next album.
That's the secret.
I think there's heavy metal album. Heavy metal band have already used that. I think probably.
Okay.
Oh, was it "Smell the Glove"? Isn't it?
I think that had a different meaning, actually, Jim.
Oh dear.
Sounds like we need to get Martin Meredith
Little by
to
little.
explain.
Get it on.
You sure it wasn't "Kiss the Ring"?
Dirty bastard.
I'm gonna mute you all now.
Use them quick.
Man's anger rising, the ostrich eyes his head. Soon the red blood will be boiling, and blue blood will be dead. What we say, little by little, land, stone by stone. Rich man's mountain comes crumbling down. Poor boy sleeps on straw, the rich boy sleeps in bed. Midnight Papa fills his belly, more poor boys are dead. Why we say, little by little, land, stone by stone. Rich man's mountain comes, crumbling down.
Another
Jimmy,
happy
is that an intentional green screen, Jimmy, or is it just happened to be the choice of
This is actually the real background. This is this is actually the only green wall in the whole house.
I thought you were going to tell. I've got to say, I thought you were going to tell us the weather for tomorrow.
No, he's in the lime room. He's in the lime room now.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's my automatic green screen, so well, it's making my head look like that. So I've turned it off for a bit.
Yeah. Made you look like you're receding more than what you actually are.
Actually are, yeah. I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Order.
All right, Jimmy, keep your ear on.
Oh no, I'm trying to. Yeah.
Next song, signing off.
Next sign.
Yeah, we signed off. Yeah.
Self-explanatory.
Well, I'd just like to say that when we did little by little, when we did the tour of the album, it was a bugger to learn to play again. That one was.
Really?
I don't know what I was doing, but it wasn't easy. Whatever it was.
Charting down Babylon in it, that tune, man. It's wicked.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Class War in it.
Yeah.
You know, that's behind most of the songs that we write. I think Class War.
Yeah.
So next track, signing off. You decided that you were going to get Astro to talk about other people in the band.
Well, yeah, it was one of those tunes, wasn't it, where everybody has a little solo. So that was what we turned it into, was like an introduction of the different members of the band, and it was something that Astro could do on stage by bringing each member in to play, their part.
As well as tambourine.
Yeah, it's like the Blues Brothers, the Blues Brothers, where he introduces the band and they leg it at the venue. A bit like that.
But again, another when you took the show on the road, it was for me 2010, and that was a great track actually, especially when Brian comes to the fore with his part on sax. I mean, that is just absolutely immense. Let's have a listen, Matt, if we can, and make sure you at least play it until Brian's bit comes in, because I love it.
I love it.
Awesome. I gotta tell you, Rob, that that just reminds me of Eloisa in Holland, right at the front, everybody out of the way, and she's dancing to that track, and Reefer Madness as well. Awesome memories. You know, like Paradiso or somewhere like that.
Yeah, the one she really goes mad to is sing her own song though.
Yeah,
She screams at every Eloisa. She screams at everyone. This is my tune. This is my tune. Get out the way. Clear the way.
I'm dancing. Love that.
People do get out the way, believe me.
Yeah, well, just push a minute. Yeah, it's like,
You don't want to get in the way. That's for sure.
I'm glad she's down there and we're up there.
She's a whirling dervish. That one.
Good stuff. Well, nice to hear that, and you know, hopefully at some point we might hear it again. But next song, maybe Jim Bob, give us an intro, Madame Medusa. What for all these young ones that are on?
What's next?
Madame Medusa.
Ah, yeah. Well, that was a jam, wasn't it? You know, we actually were jamming the whole thing. It's 13 minutes long. You're not going to play the whole.
Not tonight. It's not.
Well, we were just jamming and going for it in the studio. That's how the dog.
Yeah. Vibes, baby, vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
About your Auntie Maggie.
In business.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
and I thought Stuart Lee, my favourite comedian, did a newspaper article about when he came to see us in the 80s at the Birmingham Odeon. He was really made up because we were all getting everybody, all the 13-year-old girls in the audience to sing got a shooter in the head and all that kind of stuff. And he was just absolutely amused by the fact that we've done that. He's actually quite a big fan of the band, is Stuart Lee, and I'm a massive fan of him.
Yeah, very funny man.
He's great.
Brilliant.
Coming over here.
Yeah. Fixing things.
Love him. Teaching us how to count.
Well, let's have a listen then.
It was also the one that was on the 12-inch that we recorded specifically to give Astro a part, because he'd only had, you know, little kind of asides in other numbers, and he did the intro on Signing Off and that, you know, except he does that live. But, you know, there was nothing on record of him. So that was why we did Madame Medusa. Right. And it became the whole one side of the 12-inch, you know, the 13-minute song was because of Astro's contribution, really.
Well, tonight we ain't going to be playing his part. I'm sure he's listening, but
oh, what a shame!
Oh,
what a shame.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hit it, baby.
Much better anyway. The song is much better than the rap.
Yeah.
Say crap or rap?
It's an epic, innit?
I said rap. I meant crap.
Basking in a radiance, men of blood
think you
Nice to hear it.
I think you could hear that we were already more musically confident on that track.
Yeah.
I think you could tell that we'd already come on a bit, you know, because that was
For
recorded.
Jeezy, yeah, man, for real.
A bit fuller, a bit more powerful.
Yeah, and you could hear.
Well, just better all round, everything
confidence
in
in
it.
the band. You know, we knew we were firing on all cylinders at the time.
Yeah, the tightness, you know what I mean? Everything. Yeah.
Wicked bass, Earl.
Yeah.
Wicked bass.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
But of course, you've got the song, then you've got the rap, and then at the end of the rap, you've got the crap. You've got the it goes into a long dub, and that's what makes up the 13 minutes. Is that dub at the end?
Which is basically summed up everything we were all about. That track did, you know.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That was
Brimstone and Fire, Chant Down Babylon, and dub. Innit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What he said.
Fantastic.
You know, anti-establishment,
fantastic.
anti-Thatcher.
Yeah.
And you know, and get some music down you.
Well, we've got a couple more tracks to squeeze in. Otherwise, we are going to run over 2 hours tonight.
You better be quick.
But hey, well, listen. Whilst there's no gigs on, we might as well use you for something, can't we?
Well, it's Strange Fruit, I think, is next, isn't it?
You are correct.
Yeah,
I
I've got to say something. Here.
Go on, El.
There's a new version of Strange Fruit, a house version.
You're joking?
By a girl, and it's brilliant. Yeah, it's wicked. I've heard it a few times now. I'll link everybody to it.
Yeah, give us a link to that.
I'll get a link to it.
But add it to the playlist, though. Add it to the playlist, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's brilliant. It's good to hear like a new version of it by like a young person, and it's really good. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd love to hear that.
Obviously,
when
very,
we played it,
tune.
I thought it was ludicrous when we played it at Las Vegas. And I remember sitting there playing it and thinking, this is probably the most inappropriate song to be playing in this environment. And I must admit, by the time we finished, there was not even a ripple of applause at the end, because it was just the most inappropriate song to be played in a Babylonian place like Las Vegas. Which was
well, come on, then. So just
we've never been scared to do that, though, have we?
No, we haven't. No.
Hey, listen. Well, when you go to America and you play songs like "Trumpy, Trumpy," you know, America. I mean, what do you know?
Absolutely.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
So come on, just if somebody wants to give it a quick intro, just people might be listening who are not aware really of the original version or what that song really is about, without listening to it. So does somebody want to give it a bit of a background story?
It's a beautiful and haunting song made famous by Billie Holiday, and it's literally about the lynching that used to go on in the southern states of America. The lynching of black people that used to go on in the southern states, and it's just it makes my hair stand up when I hear the lyrics still now. It's a very powerful song.
And it tells a story. He tells a story in a very short period of time, I guess, about
and incredibly sad.
Yeah,
and
conjures up a right sad picture.
Strangely enough, written by a little Jewish white bloke
called Lewis Allen.
Yep, there you go.
You're a proper swat.
How's that for research?
I know. Thank God for Google.
Yeah, but it became really poignant when Billie Holiday sang it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a brilliant lyric written by a great lyricist, but and he wrote it because he witnessed it happening, and was shocked and saddened by it. But the second Billie Holiday sung it, it just gained a whole new dimension because she's just such an incredible emotive singer,
Well, credit to your brother Duncan as well, because obviously I've heard him sing it, and I think he really gets into it. I mean, you can see his facial expressions, his tone, his body language. I mean, he really feels it, and he
loves the song, and he sings it really well.
Well, he's not clearly not just going through the motions with it. And that. You feel that in the audience. So should we do it?
Yeah.
Do it, John.
blood on the lid and blood at the root. Black body swinging in the sun on the breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar tree. Pastoral scene of the garden side. Bulging eye and the twisted mouth. Scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. And the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is the fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to wither, for the wind to sow, for the sun to up, for the trees to drop. There is a strange bit of fire. It's there. Pastoral scene of the garden side. Bulging eyes and the twisted mouth. Scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. And the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is the fruit for the crows to blood, for the rain to wither, for the wind to sow, for the sun to rise, for the trees to drop. Here is a strange bit of cry. It's there.
Good it, Matty. Good it.
In its entirety, eh?
Yeah.
Matt couldn't bring himself to cut it at any point.
Ah, it's a good
Bid
good
or
track.
bum.
Presume you got your dinner ready, Rob?
Wicked track.
Of course.
Yeah, me too. Homemade curry, apparently. So, without further ado, Reefer Madness, let's get it in. Let's get it done. Final
Oh,
track.
yeah, man.
50% of it at least.
Tune.
Rob, is that your belly rumbling?
No, I think I was just going to say, I think that's like Madame Medusa. That's just so much more polished, and the performance is that much better, tighter, everything. We're just motoring, you know, and that's like the sound of things to come to me. Was that the 12-inch, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Much as I love the album Signing Off, I think the 12-inch is, you know, definitely us already improved.
Yeah, and it's a link into Present Arms, because Present Arms we carried on.
Definitely.
That bang, didn't we? Because we recorded Present Arms at Delaney.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for real.
Oh, it was definitely a, you know, a portent of things to come.
Absolutely. Well, look, guys, it feels as though we've kind of rushed through, but we've been at it for 2 hours and 6 minutes. So obviously we haven't. But
yeah, and we've ignored everybody. We've ignored everybody who's been asking questions as well.
Yeah.
I know, it's just so much to squeeze in. Like, there's so much to get through and stuff. So apologies to everybody.
I always feel guilty though, because they're all asking questions and trying to get involved, and we're ignoring them because we're enjoying ourselves so much.
Melanie's text me saying Karen Webb has asked 5 times. Did you think he'd still be doing it 40 years later?
Nah, of course.
He would still be alive.
Of course not.
40 years later.
Yeah,
exactly.
Who when they're in their 20s thinks they're going to be doing it in their 60s? Who in their 20s thinks they're going to be alive in their 60s?
Certainly not me.
Well, look, it's been a good session. We've got through it. And Matty, what have we got coming up? Because we, next Sunday, the Sunday after, we've got things planned.
Oh, sorry, I just realised.
Hello.
I was going to say before any of that, going on about questions that haven't been answered, everybody's asking about the masks. And the masks will be available very soon. We will have a date soon.
That's my boy promoting again.
Lovely.
Yeah, man.
It's about a week after the vaccine, then you can get all the masks.
The call art not functional.
Yeah. Have you seen the Formula One masks? They're all wearing at the Formula One.
Yeah.
Like the different teams are all like fucking, you know what I mean? Like aerodynamically not perfect.
I want to get the fuck Boris.
Mask wars.
We've got fuck Boris and fuck the Tories.
We'll get you one for your next video, Jim.
Brilliant. I'll wear it with pride.
Then you won't be able to hear him either. You'll just be muffled.
Well, next week, we are hoping to have another collaboration artist on. We're hoping to get all the way from India, the Reggae Rajas.
That'll be awesome.
What's the time difference?
It's 4 hours.
It's not that bad, actually. I think it's 6 hours ahead.
Yeah, about 4 hours to Mumbai.
Yeah, India's not that far.
That means they're coming on at 11 o'clock. That's not bad.
And it's such an interesting track as well, that one. It's so different, so bouncy. It's people
Jack
love
the
it.
40 Boulder Shisha, mate.
Oh, that tune. That time in
India for
India.
smash up the floorboards.
Are you swearing?
Nah,
there?
Nah, it's like smash up the floorboards and blow the roof off.
Yeah.
Indian.
You know what I mean?
It's let's
mother's a goat or something
it's
like
a
that.
let's party shout, isn't it? It's a rally of the troops. Let's go, boys. You know.
From my Bungra days, you know what I mean?
What really made me laugh was that Kabaka Pyramid knew the Reggae Rajas.
Yeah.
He went,
Because they've been over to Jamaica.
If you see, if you follow the Reggae Rajas, they've got a video. They documented them going to Jamaica. It's really interesting to watch, actually.
Yeah. That guy, that beatbox guy, that Kabaka Pyramid done a thing with. I think he was in India, weren't it? Or was it India? No, Jamaica.
I don't know.
Outside that studio. And it's a bit like Ed Sheeran, where he builds up the track, but he's a beatboxer and a DJ. It's wicked, man.
Oh, I've heard that one.
Yeah,
plenty of links. Yeah, plenty of links to share this week.
They're like in the community, and they like all them young, young reggae artists, like. Yeah. And there was all in India. You know what I mean? The same guy was in India, doing the thing in India, like, yeah, man.
Right.
So,
Gilbert, it's nice to see we've had to shut you up again this week.
All right, listen, mate. I'm just, I'm listening to your history. Allow me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I can smoke and be quiet, can't I?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Mexican change, that's for sure.
He wasn't mates with you at the time, so he's catching
Yeah.
up now, isn't it?
And besides, I ain't drinking any
Fuck
wine
you
this
then.
week. I'm on orange juice.
With vodka.
All right, I'm
I just
leaving
don't-
dinner.
I've been drinking
All
all
right,
weekend,
guys.
so I thought I'll wash out.
So final shout, guys, is we will we're also going to do a fans one as well. It's just the logistics of it, pulling it together and everything else. We had signing off and one thing and another, so we'll get round to that in the coming weeks as well. But I just want to say, guys, if you just join me in raising a glass to Tanya in Tanya's memory, we'll dedicate tonight's session to Tanya.
Yeah,
Tanya,
Yeah,
Respect.
all the best, guys. Cheers.
Big love, team.
Okay, I'm out of here. Goodbye, guys.
All the best. See you soon, guys.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Take care.
Tatty,
Cheers.
bye.
Respect.
Bye bye. Tatty bye.
Bye.
More time.
Yikes.